Hello and welcome to Her Story in Action. We are so happy to have you here. Whether you are joining us live or at a different time, thank you for joining. Thank you for your participation. This is the first of 4 quarterly events brought to you by Global Women's Peace Network, a project of Women's Federation for World Peace USA. My name is Adia Lancaster, and I will be your MC for today. We are honored to have you join us as we celebrate the incredible power and potential of women who are leading and making a difference in their communities and in our nation. Today, we'll hear from inspiring women leaders who are living the logic of love and creating a positive impact by serving and uplifting their communities. Now, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to the President of Women's Federation for World Peace USA, Kayleigh Moffitt, who will share more about the vision of tonight's program and its theme. Please join me in welcoming Kayleigh Moffitt to this virtual stage.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Adia, for hosting us tonight. And thank you to the incredible women that we are going to honor and hear about what they're doing in their communities. We're trying something new. We've been doing these Her Story Awards every month virtually. And now we wanted to add more depth to what it means to receive a Her Story Award and also what it looks like to be making an impact in your community. But all of this is about uplifting, especially that feminine leadership quality that we feel is so desperately needed in our society today. Now, we are talking about a specific theme this month, and I have the pleasure of introducing it a little bit to you. And I love the topic that we are covering today. It's about the feminine edge and why women's leadership matters. It's a hot topic, it's an interesting topic, and I like this terminology that there's an edge to feminine leadership. And it's fun to say it like that, but in practice, actually, it can be quite hard to pinpoint what the feminine edge is. There's a general understanding that we need women leaders in society, and we know that they're important, they're essential, there's something different about them, but it's not so easy to describe in particular depth what that looks like, what it means, and also as a woman leader, how do I harness that? How do I put it into practice? And I think the first question we have to ask ourselves is, what are these unique qualities of women's leadership? In our organization, Women's Federation for World Peace, we believe that men and women are given unique inherent qualities that are gifted by our Creator. And however you may refer to that Creator, but we honor that divine nature that both men and women have. And we believe that they must complement each other, that we need both in our society. And up until this point, we also recognize that most of history has emphasized and featured a more masculine approach to leadership. Now, there's nothing wrong with a masculine approach to leadership, but when we're only telling one half of the story of humanity, it means we're missing the other half. And we believe that this is why there is conflict, why there are problems in our society, that we haven't been able to represent this whole picture of our divine nature as human beings and putting that into practice. And so the conflict that we see is a symptom of this uneven problem that has been happening throughout all of human history. So if we can acknowledge that, then the question is, what is the difference between men and women's leadership? What is unique about women's leadership? And before I get into this, I want to acknowledge that not all women are the same and not all men are the same. So of course, there are variances and there are different personalities and unique traits that each of us have. But in general, we want to address this more feminine approach that we feel is missing in peace building today. Now, I want to be able to answer this question. I want to start with a quote from the founder of our organization, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, whom we call our Mother Moon, because she has this motherly heart towards humanity and towards the entire world. And it's an interesting quote. It's one of my favorites, but it may not be the most inspiring image, but we're going to get into why it is so essential. And she says that women have the capacity to embrace all people. A woman, especially a mother, is like a bowl with the capacity to embrace men, women, children, and the whole. Nobody can change that. Now, I know that maybe being referred to as a bull is not the most beautiful image or the most compelling, inspiring visual of what it means to be a woman. But as I've looked more deeply into this, I've actually found a lot of answers and healing and empowerment for myself. Now, what it means to be a bull, it means to be somebody who can embrace very difficult circumstances. It means instead of kind of blocking off anything that may come my way, if I have conflict, if I have, anger and aggression coming my way, instead of like putting up my fists ready to fight and ready to kind of have a combative interaction with somebody, it means instead I open my arms and I welcome it. Now, that is very difficult to do. And of course, if there are unsafe situations, you don't do that. You don't put yourself in an unsafe situation. But what I'm referring to is more of these interpersonal relationships and experiences with people. I've been in many different environments where there are many people that I'm working with that when there's something that they disagree with, they come at it with anger and frustration and trying to put you down and prove that you are wrong. And what happens with that is most people respond to that with the same kind of anger, the same kind of aggression, and so conflict occurs, and there's no, situation where you can come up with a solution that both sides benefit from. Instead, it's just conflict and conflict. But the more feminine touch to this is to be able to acknowledge, welcome, embrace those kind of unsettled, difficult feelings and not react personally to it. That's why this image of a bowl comes up. It means I can take in anything, no matter what it may be, no matter how imperfect somebody be, how rude they may be, but it doesn't change me. I stay the same. I don't let these external situations change my heart, change my ability to love and embrace and interact with people. And what happens with that, in my experiences, and I'm not always able to do this, so let's just acknowledge that it's a work in progress. But when I am able to do that in these kind of what could be a conflicting relationship or conflicting situation, when I'm able to kind of channel this part of me that can embrace and welcome difficulty, the relationship with this person, the environment that we're working with completely changes. And it's because I made that space. I became a bowl that could digest all the difficult feelings. And then suddenly that person isn't as angry anymore because I acknowledged them. And all of a sudden, I'm able to say, you know what? We're both wanting the same thing. Why don't we find a solution we can both work towards? And now that conflict is completely eradicated. Now, the world today is full of conflict, like I've been talking about. And what I see is just an increasingly divided and polarized world, whether that be, political conflicts or racial conflicts, even religious conflicts. Of course, there are amazing men and women out there who are working to heal those divides. But my point here is as we see these conflicts build, it means that something has to change, something has to shift. And my belief is that in order to repair this world, in order to bring it back together, there's this feminine perspective on peace building that is needed at this time. Now, we're certainly lucky because women's voices, women's perspectives have been raised to such a level in this country that we are so fortunate. But we have to be careful to not, make the situation unbalanced where we're trying to dominate men or women either way. We want both to be lifted up equally. And I feel that the perspective that can do that in a harmonious way is this feminine perspective, this feminine leadership quality that can embrace and honor the unique qualities and differences of both men and women and find a way to partner together to be able to represent this whole picture of humanity. Now, when I talk about this and I talk about, the power of women's leadership, this is often the image that we get. A strong woman who can overcome anything, and she's overcome insurmountable odds. And there's nothing wrong with that. And we women have overcome incredible situations. And as we hear these Her Story awardees today, we're going to really glean some incredible wisdom of women who have overcome things that you could never imagine, but they do it because of the type of women that they are. But I also want to encourage us to see beyond just this traditional version of an empowered woman and take a look at what it means to have feminine leadership qualities. And this is the image I chose that I feel like really represents women's leadership. Oftentimes when you imagine this kind of, embracing and making space and acknowledging and affirming leadership, it can be seen as a soft power. I'm not sure if you've heard that before, but there's a thinking that it's a weaker power, that the true power is, being dominant and making decisions and, not listening to other people and pushing forward no matter how difficult it is. But there's a more feminine type of leadership, is one that can listen to different perspectives and that can find a harmonious and uniting vision where all parties can work towards the same goal together. And while this may be called a soft power, I actually would propose that it is the strongest type of power there is. It's the most empowering. This the kind of leadership that can change the dynamics of a working relationship in a conflict situation. And it requires the ability to be like that bull, to be able to see bigger and wider and be able to understand different perspectives, not to take it personally, not to get reactive, but have this heart that can embrace all situations and bring them into the same environment. And like I said, I don't always do it, but when I do it, I feel the most empowered. I feel, this is what it means to be a woman leader. And if we had more of this in our negotiating rooms, in our businesses, in our schools, then we would see a change, because this feminine heart, this feminine touch of leadership is so desperately needed today. And that's why we're so grateful to be able to acknowledge our incoming Her Story awardees and some of those who received Her Story awards in the past, so we can honor the incredible work that they are continuing to do. So, what I want to conclude here with just an introduction to this theme of what it means to have a feminine edge, why we need women's leadership in society today. And I hope that these funny thoughts will stay with you, but it's to be a bull. And although that may not be the most beautiful message to kind of like meditate on, when we can tap into it in a powerful way, it really can give you strength to kind of overcome the difficult situations. We can digest the hot situations. We can welcome all the beautiful and colorful things of life. We can welcome the storms and the dark times of our life. We can also welcome the sunshine and the incredible victories of life. And I really believe that if more women could tap into this and feel empowered and feel strong enough to lead with this and have confidence in this, we would see a significant change in our society. So that's why we're here with Women's Federation. That's why all these women are here, because we know they're already practicing this in their life. And it's our great honor to be able to acknowledge these ladies and to welcome them into the Hall of Fame of Her Story awardees. So that is my introductory message about our theme today. And Adia, I will go ahead and pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, President Kayleigh, for your beautiful words of wisdom about our theme for today, and that we as women are indeed a bull. I love it. It's simple. It's easy. It's something that is odd, right? But something that we will definitely remember. So now we have come to a very special part of our program, which is the Her Story Award induction ceremony. The Her Story Award honors women not just for their exceptional achievements, but for their inspiring journeys behind them. Each of these women have demonstrated bravery, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to uplifting others, even when faced with significant challenges. Through investing in people and relationships, these awardees have demonstrated the extraordinary potential within each woman to accomplish great things for the greater good. Today, we will be presenting 3 outstanding women with the virtual HerStory Award. So let's get to celebrating these incredible women leaders. Our first awardee for today is Beverly Tidwell. But before we introduce Beverly, I'd like to bring up the person who nominated Beverly, which is Romina Rahman, to say a few words about Beverly. Please welcome and joining me, Romina.
Message. And I'm so honored and grateful actually tonight that I get to talk about this wonderful woman who really is a bowl. She is like a bowl. She really, over the years that I've known Beverly, she has shown to me what it's like to, yeah, just embrace people from all kind of walks of life. I've met Beverly about 8 years ago, I believe, in one of her camps. She does a summer camp in Mount Lemmon in Tucson, where she's from Tucson, Arizona. And I went to volunteer in one of her camps. It was for children and families of children with cancer. And that was my first kind of introduction to Beverly's work. And when I left that camp, I feel like I was impacted forever to see what she was doing and what her team was putting on together. And throughout the years to come, I got to know more and more about her and her work. And yeah, I mean, I really sometimes just you have no words to say for the work that some people have the heart to do. But Beverly to me reminds me of Mother Moon because she has taken her pain and turned it into hope for the people who need it, turned it into an embrace for those who are longing for embrace, turned it into love and compassion, and turned it into a stability and resources for those who are shaking and don't have probably the heart in those moments to find resources and to find stability they need. Beverly has become that kind of person for so many people in the childhood cancer community. So when I was approached if I would like to nominate somebody for the Her Story Award, Beverly was right away in my heart. I'm just really, really grateful to know her. So grateful that we can work with her to have her part of our community here in Arizona. And I just can't even imagine, what other people who have been directly impacted by her work have to say about her and her amazing team. But I also want to recognize her and her husband together as a couple because, they've worked together through turning their own personal pain into so much love and hope for the community. So, yes, thank you so much, Auntie Bev. You are so inspiring and yeah, just a true woman of strength, but the kind of strength that was holding those hands that Kayla showed in the picture. That is how my image of leadership that you are. So thank you so much. And yeah, God bless your work always. And thank you. Back to you, Adia.
Thank you, Romina. So beautifully said. All right, I'm going to read briefly Beverly's bio, and then we'll bring her up on stage. Living by the Creed, our greatest spiritual calling is to foster hope and joy in others. Beverly embodies resilience and compassion. Raised on a New Zealand dairy farm, she pursued nursing, but soon realized medicine alone couldn't address deeper human struggles. Her search for meaning took her from a sailboat journey to Japan to life in New York City. In 1991, she moved with her husband and 5 children to Tucson, Arizona to care for aging in laws. This chapter deepened her understanding of family dynamics. When her 4-year-old son was diagnosed with a brain tumor, her family found support through Candlelighter's Childhood Cancer Foundation. After his passing at age 11, Beverly channeled her grief into helping others, inspired by his wish, to be with my daddy. Volunteering with Candlelighters, she became its CEO, dedicating 3 decades to supporting families facing childhood cancer. She leads camps, teen proms, gift drives, support groups, and financial aid programs, alleviating the isolation many families endure. Guided by the motto, "It's better to light one candle than to curse the darkness," she ensures no family faces this journey alone. Recently diagnosed with breast cancer, Beverly continues to foster empathy while prioritizing, self-care. For her, heaven is not what we are given, but what we must make. Please welcome Beverly Tidwell.
I really appreciate this nomination, not really for myself, but for all the families that are really struggling with a child with a challenging medical diagnosis. It's as a parent, it's really one of the most excruciating things one can endure. And having other people with you who understand that challenge is really important, which is why, for me, keeping this nonprofit afloat is important. So my background is not in nonprofit management, but I've been determined to make it work. My mission came to me. I didn't choose it personally. I would have never chosen this way, but when my son was diagnosed with the brain tumor, I just couldn't, I just couldn't ignore people that help me, but then others that are also really struggling in the same realm. So, but I love the bowl analogy. I really like to bake. And if anyone's baked anything, they know that everything gets mixed in a bowl. If you had a square pan to mix your cake, it just wouldn't mix the same. And I'm a great believer in bringing all different types of people together, because together we're stronger. So I acknowledge that bowl analogy. So to be honest, when my son was first diagnosed, we were health food macrobiotic fanatics. I didn't even let my children go to do trick-or-treating at Halloween. I was like, no, they're not having sugar. And so it was really almost personally affronting to have a child diagnosed with cancer when you just spend so much of your life trying to guide them into healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. But so much in our lives as I've grown older, I realize is out of our control. There's so many different factors that influence what we do that I just ultimately just really took the bull by the horns. We had a really challenging situation. It's very difficult, even though I'm a nurse, it's actually difficult to navigate medical systems and health insurance and hospitals. I, in fact, took my son to New York City after being in Tucson, diagnosed with an inoperable tumor. So they told us here at age 4 he would pass away. But in fact, I ended up taking him to New York University Medical Center. But in doing so, I upset the local medical community. So my neurosurgeon called me the night before we left and said, if you go out of town for services, don't bother coming back to me. So for me, I found myself digesting a lot of pride, frustration, anger, some inadequacies really in the medical systems. And again, not trying to, not responding angrily. When I actually came back, so all the people that got upset when I left Tucson, I actually took them gift baskets and thank you very much. We've reached our goal. My son, so his tumor stayed away for 5 years actually. And so during that time, he really did fine. It recurred again when 5 years later, and then 3 years after that. And he eventually passed away when he was 11. And so you can imagine that's a really difficult place to be as a parent. The other aspect I think a lot of people don't realize is, so everyone speaks very clearly in the hospital setting to the child diagnosed with cancer, but the brothers and sisters, the siblings of children, really suffer a lot of unspoken grief, and also they don't always get a clear understanding of why their brother or sister might have had cancer, and they often blame themselves. So, when the children are small, they might say things like, oh, I wish you were dead, or maybe they're kicking someone under the table. Now their brother or sister has bruises and they've got leukemia, and they don't acknowledge or speak this, but they'll think, oh, I caused the cancer. So a lot of what we do in summer camp and other programming is really try and bring out really better communication in the family, such that siblings can really speak their piece or also be affirmed of their place in the family. As you know, a stressor in any family is a really tough dynamic to navigate. So it's actually kind of beautiful having this opportunity to give families a platform and a place to come together. The other thing I really like in nonprofit work is, so a lot of volunteers start volunteering as high school students, some even middle school, and some will really follow through and volunteer during the summer or winter breaks. And how I know where these students go is I'm writing letters of recommendation. So there are numerous volunteers I've worked with who have gone to medical school, nursing school, social work school, occupational therapy, all different areas of education. And I'll follow them, as undergraduates, graduates, postgraduate. And I'm often called on to write letters of recommendation. And, I truly remember everyone that provides their time. And I can write a very personalized letter of recommendation. So it's been really exciting just to see young people also opening their hearts in a way, serving in their community. But then I feel like it really, there's nothing that you give out that doesn't come back, right? Everything that you give out of your heart and soul and mind comes back in some form of nourishment, of, refilling your bowl. So you might think you're emptying your bowl, but ultimately it's being refilled. So just seeing young people getting involved in their community is really heartwarming. So there's lots of aspects of my work that I really love. The other thing, we actually, in Tucson, because there's only about 1 million people here, we serve families with sickle cell and other anemias. So in the last 15 years, probably we've doubled the number of refugee families that we've served. And that's a really heart-opening experience when you talk to those families who have lived in refugee camps for 5, 10, 12 years, and the stories that they bring with them and the resilience that they bring. Someone living in suburbia in the United States, we're faced with challenges, but not the type of challenges that these families face. And to me, that's been eye-opening, but also another area that I can have empathy for displaced people. Anyway, I probably shouldn't tell the story, but to be honest, right now I have a homeless person living on my front patio because it's been very cold here. And the media heard the story and came to interview him and me. And I was saying, we're all only just one fire away from homelessness. And my heart goes out to all the people in Los Angeles right now who have really suffered loss. So I think working in this field, I just feel that one just opens up one's heart and mind and soul to be a more empathetic individual. And working together with other people that I love, my brothers and sisters that come and help every year, I really appreciate everybody's support, because this is not just me doing it alone. I couldn't do this without help from others and working together with others. So I really appreciate it. I just had a wonderful experience going to a conference, Escape to Thrive. So last summer, I realized it was the 30th year that I had done summer camp for families. But I also just received a diagnosis of breast cancer, and I decided to go to this seminar that was just recently. It was at Miraval Spa Resort. It's a very expensive resort. And it's paid for by scholarships for people that are in cancer advocacy. And so a lot of people are like me. They had an experience of cancer and said, wow, this is what was missing in the picture. This is what I can contribute to others. And it was just wonderful. Probably half of the group was young adults. And so that's always inspiring to me when, people can pick up the baton and really do something in their own area. So I really appreciated that opportunity to really think about balancing my life with time. A lot of time now is spent grant writing and planning and making documents and flyers and advertising and fundraising and things. But I realized to do that for as long as I want, I really also need to stay healthy as possible. And it's really not something I've thought about for the last few years. So I want to age gracefully and with a bigger heart, not with a smaller mind and a body that's really struggling too much. So I've had a lesson in a little bit of self-care. So I appreciate those people that came to my aid and, helped me see the light there. So I hope everyone, as women, we're often sacrificing whatever it is. We sacrifice for our children, our husbands. But I realize there's a balance in life. And I think some of the experiences I had with my son, I was explaining a little bit about his Make-A-Wish. So he could wish anything he liked in the world. And we're all sitting around the table. He's on the wishing chair and the Make-A-Wish Foundation is there. And they're asking, what would you like? You can have anything you like in the world. And he stands up and he sits on his father's lap and he hugs my husband around the neck. And he says, I just want to be with my daddy. And I'm looking at this. So my husband starts crying. My son's crying. His brothers and sisters start crying. And I'm looking at this thinking, what does any child really want? They want to be loved. They want to be embraced. And I also reflected on the fact that, wow, does my son love his father more than I love my husband? And that also motivated me to really pursue growth, personal growth. So what it means to be in relationship as a wife, as a mother, how can I make it more meaningful, more intentional? And how can I grow that relationship? So just one little instant like that. There are many things that happened in the 7 years that we were navigating his cancer diagnosis that really transformed my heart into something where I had to go above and beyond what my comfort zone was. And, of course, we can't say we'd never wish something would happen. We're not in control of a lot. But oftentimes when I reflect back on it, I think of all the things that I gained in my relationship with my son and what he gave to me as his mother. So it's really tough working with other parents, but sometimes a tough reality is what you just have to deal with. So I just really encourage, I know everybody deals with challenges in life and it's how we respond to them that's important. So I appreciate that. I didn't have my timer on, but I don't know how our time is going.
You did great, Beverly. Let's all give her a big round of applause. There are many watching live right now. Beverly, that sharing was really so moving. Your story is moving, but what comes across from you is, Romina said it, right? I think you are the embodiment of this analogy that I was using earlier of how do you take all the situations in with grace and with strength and with love, and it exudes from you. So congratulations. We're going to bring up your award now, which you are so deeply deserving of. This is our virtual award. You will receive the actual physical award in another way. But for now, so we can share it with everybody, I will read it out. It says the HerStory Award is proudly presented to Beverly Tidwell on this day, January 25th, 2025, in recognition of your compassionate leadership and tireless dedication to Candlelighters Childhood Cancer Foundation. Your work has brought hope, care, and support to families facing extraordinary challenges and ensuring they never stand alone. With heartfelt gratitude for the light you bring to others, we honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. Congratulations, Beverly. Please virtually receive this from us. And
Thank you very much.
we will physically get you the actual copy at a later time. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Beverly, and congratulations. We'll pass it back to Adia now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Beverly, for sharing your story. I know a lot of us who are watching right now and who will be watching at another time will be incredibly moved by the work that you do and the heart that you serve with. So, on to our next awardee for today. It is Karen Gall. But before we bring Karen up on this virtual stage, I'd like to introduce her nominator, Elizabeth Ahe, to say a few words about Karen. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth.
Good evening. Sorry, my voice have a cold. Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Ahe. I'm the chairperson for WFWP DC chapter. I'm honored to share a few words towards Miss Karen. I met Miss Karen last year at Church of Scientology. She was receiving a humanitarian award. When she walked in the room, just the calming presence she brought into the room, a smile just brightened the room. And I felt, oh, I really need to talk to this lady after the program. And then when they introduced her before giving her the award, when they raised the bio, what she does in the community, and most of the things aligned with what we do, Women Federation, what we do, she bridges the gap, she builds bridges between the enforcement, the law enforcement, and also the resident of Washington, D.C. She empowers everyone in the community. She mentors the youth and adults and empowering the next generation leaders to really become like active change makers in the communities. And she uses a platform really she uses that platform to really bring the community together. If you know, in Washington, D.C., there's a lot of sometimes like difficulties between the law enforcement and the community, but she's there to bridge the gap. She has been working diligently and she's well respected. But more so, she has that motherly touch to her. When she came in the room, you could see even the people in there just, coming towards her and wanting to be with her, wanting to hear her speak. She's really a mother figure in the community. She's like a grandmother or a mother who walks in the room and suddenly everybody just runs to her. So I was really touched. I'm gonna just read one sentence to just emphasize why I nominated her and I want to work with her. Karen exemplifies the essence of faith, empathy, and vision. unwavering dedication of service, innovation, and inclusivity stands as a testament to her enduring legacy of humanitarian, public safety advocate, and community leader. Through our work of collaborative spirit, Karen continues to foster a stronger, safer, and more connected Washington, D.C., where every individual has the opportunity to thrive. So she works with the youth, she wants them to thrive. She works with women, empowering them. She works with the law enforcement to bring peace and unity. So this is the reason why I nominated her. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read Karen's bio before we bring her up. Karen Gall is a lifelong Washington, D.C. resident. She is a visionary leader dedicated to public safety, social progress, and women's empowerment. As chairwoman and CEO of the 3rd District Metropolitan Police Department Citizens Advisory Council, or 3DCAC, she has strengthened public safety by uniting residents, law enforcement, and civic organizations. Her leadership also includes roles as chairwoman of the ANC 1B04 Civic Association and national trainer for FEMA's Community Emergency Response Team. Woo! That was a mouthful. Or CERT, focusing on community resilience and women's crisis leadership. Karen champions women's voices through organizations like the DC Democratic Women's Club, Metropolitan Women's Democratic Club, and the International League of Muslim Women. She fosters global sisterhood through initiatives like Power in Sisters, Sister Power, Sister and AKA Muslimas, while advocating for equity in politics, safety, and social advocacy. Recognized with awards such as Women of the Year for Public Safety and Women of Color Making an Impact, Karen tackles issues like domestic violence, housing insecurity, and racial inequality. Her mentorship, interfaith work, and policies empower women and promote health, education, and economic opportunity, cementing her as a leader and catalyst for change in Washington, D.C. Please welcome Karen Gall to the stage. I believe we might just only be able to hear her, though, as she says a few remarks. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you. And thank you so very much, Miss Elizabeth. You are a remarkable woman. And before I start, I want to, of course, say good evening to each of you all, my beautiful sisterhood of PSSP, the distinguished guests that we have amongst us, and our fellow awardees, and of course, the remarkable leaders of the Women's Federation for World Peace. It is a profound honor to come before you tonight and accept the HerStory Award. This recognition celebrates not just my individual journey, but the collective work of countless women who have dedicated their lives to building peace, fostering unity, and uplifting their communities. And to that, I say thank you. I'm also deeply honored and humbled to be nominated by the WP Chairwoman Miss Elizabeth Ahi, as you saw, as she beautifully presented a wonderful, her wonderful impression of me that sort of brought me to tears. I was just so emotional. Miss Elizabeth, you are such a beautiful spirit, such a wonderful woman. Meeting you has been a joyful delight, and I'm truly grateful that I got a chance to meet you on that day for the humanitarian awards. I really appreciate you so much, and I certainly appreciate this nomination. Your recognition is a testament to the power of unity and service, and I'm truly grateful for your faith in my journey. Thank you, everyone, for this incredible honor and the opportunity to stand alongside such inspiring leaders. Um, Hearing the analogy about a bowl, the bowl is such, it's a vessel that can receive, as you mentioned, a vessel that has been made for many generations by hand, in pottery. That's the first thing one of the first things you learn how to do, but that's because it holds so much. You can put it on a shelf. You can fill it up with so many good things. You can always use it for nourishment. And as a society, it's a really, really good analogy, a way to bring people together when you use that analogy of the bowl. So, President Kylie Moffitt, I really appreciate you using that. Thank you all for recognizing the power of service and the resilience of women across the globe. This award is a tribute to all the unsung heroes who tirelessly work for a better tomorrow. As for myself, from a young age, I learned that service is the purest form of love. My mother, Teresa, a woman of unyielding faith and compassion, taught me that even the smallest acts of kindness can create ripples of transformation. Her example became the foundation of my life's work and inspired the creation of Power and Sisters Sister Power, which is an initiative rooted in the belief that women are the backbone of strong families and thriving communities. Power and Sister Power has become a beacon of leadership, development, and women's empowerment. We have cultivated a network of women's leaders dedicated to service, philanthropy, and advocacy by providing mentorship, education, and resources for women to lead in their homes, in their workplaces, and in their neighborhoods. One of our most impactful programs involves equipping women with public safety ambassadorship. These women are able to receive training in emergency preparedness, conflict resolution, and advocacy, allowing them to create safer spaces for their families and their neighborhood. So, no matter where a woman is in her life, whatever her journey she's going through, we bring her in by uplifting her through this particular program that gives her a lot of tools and leadership. So far, we witnessed extraordinary transformations through this work. Women who once hesitated to step forward now stand as leaders in their communities, proving the undeniable strength of service driven empowerment. This journey continues to inspire my broader work with 3D CAC, where we address public safety, equity, and community resilience through collaboration and collective action. The path to service, of course, hasn't been without challenges. As you can see, we're in a day and age where challenges have to be addressed in regards to systemic barriers, sexism, racism, advocating for marginalized voices, and navigating complex public safety concerns often have tested our resolve. Yet, in the moments of difficulty, I've drawn strength from my faith, the communities that I serve, and the incredible women that I have the honor of working alongside. With Power and Sister Power, it has been a lifeline for women facing domestic violence and trauma. We've created safe spaces for survivors to share their stories, access vital resources, and rebuild their confidence. One survivor's journey particularly stands out. We have a young woman who, through our support, she found her voice, she regained her independence, and she now advocates for others in similar situations. Now more than ever, her courage reminds us that no challenge is insurmountable when we stand together. Collaboration has been our key to overcoming adversity. We're partnering with civic organizations, faith leaders, and grassroots initiatives, which has allowed us to address systemic issues like economic disparity and safety. Through these partnerships, I've witnessed how empowering women with knowledge and resources can break the cycles of adversity and inspire hope and leadership. One of our greatest lessons that I've learned is that leadership is not measured by titles or accolades, but by the legacy we leave for others. True leadership is about creating pathways for others to succeed, nurturing diverse perspectives, and building bridges that unite communities. I've seen the transformative power of hope through initiatives like our 3D CAC Pastoral Clergy Coalition, which equips faith leaders to work with law enforcement and provide engagement and tools to address domestic violence, to address youth engagement and crisis intervention, which we really, really sadly need more and more, not only in Washington, D.C., but in throughout the United States. We know that equally the programs that we have, like that's under our Power and Sister Power program, like our workforce readiness program, and all those initiatives, and our family reunification program. We have empowered women to overcome barriers, achieve stability, and inspire others to rise. These efforts are reflected in stories like, we have a young lady that we call Sister Erica, who became a mentor through our motherhood forum. And we also have Sister Sarah, whose mural project brought a renewed sense of pride to her community. These women remind us that even in the face of adversity, we hold the power to inspire, we hold the power to uplift, and we hold the power to continue to be good sisters to each others. And I want to thank you all as I accept this award again. And I do it again with immense gratitude, not only again to my Lord, the creator of all, the Women's Federation for World Peace, and the communities I have been blessed to serve. Because every day that I can wake up and serve, it's a blessing, and I'm truly grateful. This honor is a testament to the collective strength of women and the transformative power of service. And to my fellow women in this space and beyond, let us continue to inspire, let us empower, let us support one another as we journey towards peace, justice, and a brighter future. Together, we can create a world that is truly reflective of our values that we hold dear. And I want to thank you all for this extraordinary recognition once again. I'm truly, truly grateful. And Miss Elizabeth, I'm sending you some air kisses. You can't see them right now, but I'm sending lots of those to you. And I can't wait to embrace you, and give you a big hug. Thank you, ladies. Have a beautiful and blessed evening.
Thank you so much. Let's give a big round of applause to Miss Karen Gall. I mean, we couldn't see your video, but your spirit comes across so clearly in your voice and your heart and your sincerity. Like Elizabeth said, I understand what you mean, Elizabeth. So much of what you talk about, we share in common. And if I may, I would say that our organizations are we are sisters, our organizations, and like-minded and like heart. So thank you so much for sharing the incredible work that you've been doing. And we really want to continue to support you. And of course, I know Elizabeth really wants to continue to work with you. So we will go ahead and bring up your virtual award. And like I said with Beverly, this is the virtual one. You will get a physical copy as well. It says that the Her Story Award is proudly presented to Karen Gall on this day, January 25th, 2025, in recognition of your impactful leadership and unwavering dedication to fostering equity, inclusion, and empowerment within the community. Your visionary work in public safety, mentorship, and advocacy has strengthened neighborhoods, inspired women leaders, and improved countless lives. We honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. Please join me in giving her a big round of applause. All those who are watching live with us
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
congratulations, congratulations. We look forward to learning more about what you're doing and supporting the great work that you're doing. Thank you. Adia, we'll pass it back to you.
Due to our final awardee for today. It is Janie Kella. But before we bring her up on this virtual stage, I'd like to introduce the person who nominated Janie, Musu Kamara, to say a few words. Musu, please come to the virtual stage. Okay. Actually, I don't think she's on. So I'm going to go ahead and read Janie's bio. All right. Janie Tejan Kella, CEO of the Caring Hands Foundation, is a visionary leader dedicated to education, healthcare, and economic empowerment in undeserved communities. She champions equity-focused initiatives that drive sustainable development and inclusive growth. A strong advocate for Sierra Leone's blind school in Freetown, Janie provides resources and mentorship, helping visually impaired students overcome barriers. She also empowers women by equipping them with skills and resources, fostering economic independence, and promoting grassroots gender equality. Under her leadership, the foundation delivers innovative, community-driven solutions through strategic local and global partnerships. Janie's compassionate leadership prioritizes long-term resilience over short-term relief. We love that. Amplifying marginalized voices and advocating systemic change. Her work embodies the foundation's mission to empower communities and create a more inclusive, equitable future. Please welcome Janie Kella.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm honored to be here today to be nominated for this award. Mosu Kamara, I thank you very much. And I also thank her award. I also thank HerStory in Action for this opportunity. I started this journey in 2007 when I completed my LPN school. Started working as a nurse. I went to Sierra Leone. My mind was everywhere because I wanted to give back to the community. So I was figuring out where should I start. I went to the school in Toke, the Kolifa Primary School. I spoke to the head teacher. She told me their challenges. So for a few years, I was helping them with school supplies. I even gave some girls scholarship just to encourage them to further their education. And I spoke to them about the importance of education. 2011, I also helped some disabled people because I was still trying to figure out what really I want to do. And 2014, we had an outbreak of Ebola in Sierra Leone. People were in denial. So what I did here, I organized a community. We're going from store to stores, especially on Woodland Avenue in Philadelphia, asking people to help us to donate medical supplies, whatever they had. And we were going to churches to educate the people here so they can call their family members to tell them that this outbreak was real and to take all the precautions they needed. So we did that. At the end of the day, we were able to raise like a container worth of medical supplies. We sent it to Sierra Leone. 2017, we had a mudslide. So that one touched me as well. I was able to raise funds and we sent it to the victims. Made a trip to Sierra Leone. I went to visit the victims. So I was doing this all by myself or like trying to call people here and there. 2017 September, I registered Caring Hands Foundation for a 501c3. So I had the 501c3 and 2018, I went to Sierra Leone and I came in contact with some visually impaired women. So they were looking for help. I spoke to them and I was able to help them with some capital to start a small business. So they've been in that, they've been doing the business, they're doing soap making and other stuff. While they're doing that, I also help their children with school supplies. Like whenever I go, I'll put some stuff like books, pen, whatever it is in the barrel and take it to them. I'll even task my loved ones that I'll be going to Sierra Leone, please help me. And people will come on board to help, you know. I was doing all this, especially for the adult blind, because in my country, most of the adult blind, they go to the street to beg. They take their kids out of school and they go with them to beg because they will be their eyes. So I said, okay, if I can help these mothers stay home, do some businesses, and then help their kids with some school supplies, I think they will be out of the street, and then the kids, at least when they educate themselves, they'll be able to support their family. So we've been doing that, and I'm still helping them with that. And 3 years ago, I went to the blind school. This one it really, really touched my heart. It break my heart, but I came to a conclusion that, you know what, I just need to support these kids. I went to the blind school. You can see like 3 years old, 6 years old. My son is 11. His age mates are there, you know, and the kids are blind, but you can see them running. They were so happy, around the school compound. I cried at first. The first 3 times I went there, I cried. But I became used to them because they always say, don't feel sorry for us, help us. So I always took my son there too for him to see and appreciate what he has and to be grateful. So I've been helping these kids. And finally, what we've been doing with them, I said, okay, they're blind, but they can still do what other kids can do, right? So in my country, the schools every year they'll do like sport, they will do prize giving ceremony, they will do Thanksgiving, which is like a parade on the street. But this kid, they've never done something like that. So last year we started this with them. They had so much fun, so much fun they had. I promised myself and I promised them that every year we will do this for them. So they're looking forward to it. They've been looking forward to it. I went there one time. I saw them playing soccer ball. They had stones in like the milk jar we have, the 1 gallon. That's where they put stones, lock and close it, and they when they kick the jar, they follow the sound of the stone. So when I came to America, I checked. I was looking everywhere for where we can have like soccer ball for the blind. So I got some from Amazon. I bought that. I took it to them. When they were playing that, like you won't even know that they're not blind. It's so amazing. So I'm just grateful, and I went back to Tokyo. So what I did with the women there, because I always like to empower women. When they come, they ask for little things. I said no. I'll give them something to empower them, so that way they will not ask me again. I always tell them, I'll help you start a business. That way, when I come to this village, I'll ask you to buy me water if you have it, so you don't have to be asking. At least you will have something to help your family and other people. So I help like 5 women in Tokyo. I gave them they call it micro credit. So when one person sell with the money, whatever it is, after some time they give it to another person, they rotate it among themselves. And I went to Kenema again in Sierra Leone. I did that to like another 5 women, just to empower them, because I believe in women empowerment. When you empower a woman, you empower the whole family. I'm just grateful to everybody, and I thank everybody. Thank you, HerStory in Action. Musu Kamara, I thank you again for this nomination. Thank you all.
Wow, thank you so much. I mean, hearing so you have accomplished so much. It's kind of overwhelming, and I know you have so many more stories to share, right? All the different personal stories of lives how have been changed through your work, and what's amazing about it is it just started with, your simple act of seeing a need and reaching out, and it has turned into this incredible movement of hope and change and incredible lives that have been touched by you and your work. So please accept our heartfelt thank you and also our congratulations for receiving this much deserved award today, the Her Story Award, which I will read out loud here. It says, the Her Story Award is proudly presented to Janie Tejankala on this day, January 25th, 2025, in recognition of your exceptional dedication to advancing education, healthcare, and economic empowerment for underserved communities. Your leadership and unwavering commitment to inclusion and sustainable development has made a profound impact in Sierra Leone and beyond, empowering individuals and fostering resilience in marginalized communities. We honor you as a peace leader who lives by the logic of love. Congratulations, Janie.
Thank
Again,
you.
you'll receive a physical copy of this at a later time, but please accept our heartfelt thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Adia, we pass it back to you.
We have been getting so many wonderful comments through all the presentations so far, and just so honored again to celebrate these wonderful ladies. But we hope you're still with us because we have more for you. Our next segment is called GWPN Spotlight. And because we have this growing network of incredible women leaders who are doing amazing work in their communities, locally, within America, and as we heard, globally, in Africa and other places, we want to highlight women in our network who are doing this work, who are living this work, who embody the soft power that President Kele was talking about earlier. And so for this segment, we will be shining a spotlight on a remarkable woman who is making a difference through her courageous leadership and service. So I'd like to introduce you to Elizabeth Lim, who is an advocate for the prevention of sexual abuse of children through education and empowerment. Currently as founder and CEO of Scream, Run, Tell. I'm not sure how to pronounce the acronym of that. You can share that afterwards, Elizabeth. Ms. Lim oversees internal and external operations as well as funding and community education. Recognized on a national level for the SR-TEL method of child sex abuse prevention, she has trained law enforcement, medical, childcare, and family counseling professionals to enhance their efforts to end sex abuse against children. She conducts training, keynote, and workshop programs for numerous local and national conferences, social and civic organizations, and elementary and preschools. In partnership with the Florida Crime Prevention Association, she also provides workshops on the SR-TEL method, which trains law enforcement, counselors, and advocates on the most advanced cutting-edge techniques and strategies in the prevention of child sex abuse. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth to our virtual stage. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the work that you do. We're excited to hear more about it.
To be a part of it, and just want to thank the Women Federation of World Peace. You guys have been so amazing, so supportive. Like I said, I've never done this on my own. I definitely have had so much help from amazing women like all of you that has stepped up and given me a hand wherever it's needed. So just a little short story about how this even came to be. So many years ago, there's a statistics, and it is 1 out of 5 children will be sexually abused before the age of 18. Well, I had 5 children. And that statistic came really real to me when one of my children was affected. Now, I myself am a survivor, and I would do everything in my power to protect my children. I was very diligent, and they weren't allowed to go anywhere, or if they did, I was there. So when this affected my home, I basically went into deep depression. I was very angry, very could not understand why this would even happen. It was a very tough time in our lives and as a family. Well, to soothe myself, if you can even say that, I started doing a lot of research. And during this research, I started to want answers, and not realizing what I was doing. I was finding out a possible key um, of sex offenders. And through that is how I came up with the SR-TEL method, the Scream Run Tell method. And so that it was born, 14 years ago, it was born. And I wrote a short book, and I remember feeling the anger, the frustration, and it was just burning inside of me. And I remember saying to our creator, I have 2 options. I either continue with this hate, anger, and destroy what you have given me, or I have to use it for good. And so that was my mission, to protect children before sex abuse actually happens. And how would you do that with a tiny little 2-year-old or a 4-year-old? And the method was born. And so I have traveled all over the US. I have I teach anyone. It doesn't matter. If you want to learn, I will do it. And with that, so many people stepped up and donated the computer, donated the website. All of this is donation, your time, and everything goes right back to providing empowerment for the parents and the children. So one of the things that I want to share is that the need, like everybody has like a passion or a sense of wanting to do something, but not knowing where. And the beautiful thing about it is that we will all be touched in different ways. And so wherever you are touched to help, whether it's through helping with children with cancer, or empowering women, or helping in our communities, my deepest desire is that that you go for it. Sex abuse is not it's not anything anybody wants to talk about, and it's actually extremely difficult. Most parents come to us after that has happened, and honestly, true prevention is for something to never happen. Everything else is the first stages of recovery, and that's like with anything, with your health, with education, with everything. So really preventing, like, how would you even prevent sex abuse, right? How could you do it in a way that you would not rob the innocence of the child? And that's the beauty about SRTEL, is that that's exactly what we do. We empower the child with tools, empower the parent with tools, yet never robbing the innocence of a child. And as my children were little and I was trying to teach them, it's a give and take, right? You have to take some innocence away to give them a tool to protect themselves. But what if there's a way to just let them have their innocence and still give them tools? Well, that's where SRTAL plays the big role. So we do need a lot of help. I'm the first one to admit it. I need help. Like, there's so much that we need help in. So if there's anybody there that is wanting to help in any way, I'll tell you guys. So so professional skills, your expertise definitely would be appreciated. And also in community engagement, there's a lot of us that know people in our community. And if you feel that you have a need and that you want us there, then give us a call, or, or send us. I think you guys are going to put up my website, or my personal email too will work. Let us know and we'll go. And also encouragement, encouraging SRTEL and helping us to reach families. The more families we reach, the more we're going to accomplish to eradicate sex abuse. So I'm going to leave you guys with one of the tools that I give parents. And an abuser only wants two things. And out of those two things, that abuser will choose one before the other. So they want to victimize a child and stay in secret. But out of those two things, they will always choose one over the other. And I'm going to tell you why. They will always choose to stay in secret. So if a child has tools, they will spot the tools and they will choose another child. So our goal is to give these tools to these children as fast and as quickly as we can, so that we save more children. The other thing is to stay in secret, right? That's the goal, to stay in secret. And so they will find any other child. With that said, I think it was 7 minutes. I'm not 100% sure, but I just want to thank all of you, especially the Women's Federation for World Peace. This is truly a way that we start peace, is by really protecting our families, our children, and keeping the innocence of our children is crucial in protecting and harnessing the peace that we want in our families, in our communities, and worldwide. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for sharing what you do. If anybody is interested in learning more about Elizabeth's organization, SRTEL, you can visit her website at srtel.org. And we will also probably send that information out too with the link to this video. Elizabeth, thank you. I know it's not easy to talk about such a difficult topic, and what you do is definitely making a difference. And we're so happy that you came on to share a little bit about your organization and what you do. All right, let's get on with the rest of the program. We are almost finished. We have a couple more segments, but this next segment is called On the Ground with GWPN, because we are committed to turning vision into action with specific initiatives and programs that are addressing pressing needs. So as you know, the world needs women's perspectives and approaches to bring peace and justice in the world. We are the bull of our communities, right? For this first quarter, our focus is on women's empowerment in recognition of March being Women's History Month and also hosting International Women's Day. We will be highlighting our initiatives that are focused on empowering women And I'd like to introduce you to Grace, the GWPN coordinator, who will be sharing more details about the initiatives being proposed for this quarter. Please welcome Grace Kasili to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Grace Kisile, and thank you so much to just all of you that have shared. Yeah, it's just really incredible hearing everyone's stories each time. Very briefly, and reiterate a little bit of what Adia just said. I guess this is my, sorry, this is my screen. Am I controlling this? Sorry. Oh, I think Yumi is controlling it. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Okay. All right. So just to start again with our founder, this is a quote that you'll find also on our website, and it says, the world of the future can be a world of reconciliation and peace, but only if it is based on the maternal love and affection of women. This is the true power of womanhood. And so this is really a lot of what, Kaylee already talked about today, and really a lot of the energy behind each of our 4 amazing women leaders who spoke today. It's this energy of care and this energy of holding, and again, with the theme of the bowl, of really, holding space for people and leading with that kind of compassion. And the goal of GWPN is to really bring these types of people together. Because I think also one of our awardees said that we are stronger together. And the more that we can know of each other, the more we can really do with one another and create even bigger impact in society. So that's the goal of GWPN in a nutshell. You can go to the next slide. You can go to the next slide. Okay, and so, back one. Okay, together we aim to inside out. There are so many different initiatives, so many different projects that each of our women leaders or women leaders who are connected to our network do. As we heard, we also really want to give opportunities to work together. It's not the only ways to work together, but it's a place to start. And so in GWPN, we highlight 4 main initiatives, 1 per quarter. So HerStory Awards, celebrating women peacemakers in the first quarter. Then second quarter is around Mother's Day, empowering women as mothers. Third quarter, Bridge of Peace, which is about reconciliation and conflict transformation. And then Schools of Africa, which is in the area of service and humanitarian initiatives. So that's just a brief overview there. And next slide. So we are in the first quarter, as Adia said. And so we are in the HerStory Awards segment. As was mentioned, March is the Women's History Month. It's also the International Day of Women. Yes, in March. And so this program today was so impactful, hearing the stories of each of these women leaders, right? And so we get to know the faces and the stories and the work behind each of these people. And we really encourage these kinds of things to happen on the ground as well, because when you get to know one another and you live in the same city, you can even work more closely together. So so in this quarter, we're encouraging as many of these kinds of HerStory Award programs to happen in all over America. And I just want to quickly share a few of the communities or a few of the states that are thinking of doing one. So New Jersey, there's a community in New Jersey, in New York, in Washington, D.C., in Arizona, and in Pennsylvania. These are just some of the communities that have already expressed interest in planning a HerStory Award, but you can definitely reach out to us at gwpn@wfwp.us if you are interested in hosting a HerStory Award, if you really want to start creating more of that kind of space to connect to one another together in your community. So yes, this is a call to action. Just reach out if you would be interested in doing that. And I will pass it back on over to Adia to close. Thank you.
For this very first Her Story in Action program. We will be hosting this every quarter. And we hope that you were inspired by the women that you got to meet today, by their stories, the wisdom that they shared, and the dedication that they all devote their lives to in service of others. Before we close, I have a few important ways to stay connected and be part of this growing movement of women leaders that we call GWPN, Global Women's Peace Network. So the first thing first is to follow us on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and follow our page. It's Women's Federation for World Peace USA. There you will find updates and posting of articles and ways to connect with us. Second, we just recently last year, the latter part of last year, launched a new podcast, and our podcast is called the HerStory podcast. You can find it on Spotify, and this is where we share remarkable stories of women who are shaping the world with their courage and compassion. I don't know if we have time today to give you a little snippet of this podcast, but you can search it on Spotify, the HerStory podcast, and find it there. Please subscribe to that. And we put out about two a month. So we would love to have you subscribe and also to comment as well on the podcast. And thirdly, we'd love for you to become a member of this growing network of women leaders that are doing work all over the world, right? So on your screen, you should see a QR code that you can go ahead and scan with your phone, or you can go ahead and visit us at wfwp.us and find the information there on how to become a member. Honestly, if you were inspired by what you heard today and you want to get involved, please consider being a member. We would love to have you as part of our network. All right, so again, our podcast highlights these wonderful women who are in our Global Women's Peace Network. We love to interview them and really dive deep into how they are using the feminine edge in their leadership, whether it's in business or in organizations or just serving their community, however they are. It's an opportunity for us to go a little bit deeper into exploring their worlds. And if you'd like to get involved once again in our local programs, like Grace had mentioned, please reach out to GWPN at wfwp.us for more information. Please stay tuned for our next quarterly program, which will probably happen sometime in July, the end of July, the fourth Saturday of July. But if you are on our email list, you will be getting notifications of when the exact date and time will be. Thank you once again for your participation, for hanging in there and staying with us this time. We hope that it was enriching for you and your heart. Please share this incredible program with those you think would be inspired by this. And we hope to see you at our next Her Story in Action event. Together, let's harness the power of women to create a world full of peace and prosperity, for not just for ourselves, but for others and for our future generations. Until next time, my name is Adia, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.